Hello and welcome back to what will be the final video in the R Programming for Beginners series. I know I said last time that we'd be going through ggplot 2, but I've decided that that's such a vital part of data visualization in R, and it would take several videos or one long video. So today I'm going to round off the R Programming for Beginners series by just quickly showing you how you can import your own data. I know a lot of you have probably been working with spreadsheets, so how can you take data from a spreadsheet or other sources and take it into R so that you can do your own data analysis. And I'll also then show you how you can export your data from R for use in other packages. So I have here a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and one of the most common ways in which we will import data into R is using something called a CSV, or a comma-separated variable file. And the way that we can save our spreadsheet as a comma-separated variable file is by going to File, Save a Copy, and then we just change the file type here to CSV and save. And now if we come into R, then it's really simple to now pull that data into R and save it as a data frame. So all we need to do is use this read CSV function, and we specify the file name here. And as long as the file is saved in the same folder as your R script, so if I go to my folder here, you'll see this is my R script, and this is the file saved in the same folder. And what that means is I can simply specify this file argument, and I give it a character string with the name of the file in those quotation marks. And if you run that, you'll see that I'm simply given a data frame with all the data from our CSV, which came from our Excel file. And you can now use this to do all the things that we showed in the last few videos. So any of the data manipulation and data visualization that we saw. And coming back to our file here, a couple of things to note. So that was what you do if the file is saved in the same place as your R script. However, you can access files that are in other places. And there are two main ways in which we can do this. So there's relative and absolute file paths. So relative means it is what the file path is relative to where your R script is saved. So to specify a relative file path, we look at where the R script is saved, and essentially we do not need to specify this first bit of the file path. So let's say we wanted to access a file that is within this folder here, relative to our R script, that is just tutorial 8 and then the name of our file. So that's all I've done here. This is the folder, tutorial 8 folder, and then the name of our file. And if I run that, you'll see we get data frame 2 just as we did data frame 1. And then an absolute file path is the entire file path. So we go from the D drive all the way into OneDrive, then desktop, then tutorial 8. And you'll notice that you have to use the double backslash that we talked about in one of the previous tutorials. So you see that if we look at the Windows File Explorer, then it just has a single backslash. But if you remember, when we have a string, a backslash is actually an escape clause that allows us to put things like new lines within our string. So we need to convert this to a double backslash when we provide it to the file argument. And now if I run that, you'll see that once again, we get our data frame just as we want. Now the read CSV function is actually a special instance of the read table function where some of the arguments are already defined. So this will make more sense if we take a look at what a CSV file actually looks like. So if we just go to right click on our CSV file and open it with Notepad, then this is what a CSV file looks like. Each of our data points is separated by a comma. You have the column headings up here and then the row headings down the side here. And now the read table function can be used to read different types of file where they may not be separated by commas. Another common one is a tab separated variable. But all I've done here is I've created a special file where the separation is a star. And we'll see that that file is called tutorial 8 data new, and it's just saved in the same place, but it is now a text file. A CSV file is also a text file, however, it's just a special type of text file. And if I open this up, you'll see that we now have star separated variables, and the column and row headings have quotation marks around them. And that's just as a result of the way that the write table function writes files from R. So now we can run this function. And once again, we just get our data frame exactly as before. Now let's say we've done some work on our data and we now want to export it out of R for use in another program. Maybe we want to take it back to Excel because we want to send it to a colleague who works in Excel. Very simple. There's sort of a sister function to the read function, which is a write CSV function. So then we just provide that a data frame to write to a file, and all of the same rules apply about the file path. So if you don't specify a file path, it will just be saved in the same place as the R script. And if you want to save it somewhere else, then you need to use the relative or absolute path to get to that place. So if we run that, you'll see that tutorial 8 data v2 is created in our file system right here. And we can open that, and it will be opened as a CSV within Microsoft Excel, but we can also go ahead and then save that as an actual Microsoft Excel file if we want to. Finally, there's also the sister version of the read table, which is a write table function, and that does exactly the same thing as the write CSV, but instead you'll write a text file, and this is how I created the star separated variable file that we read in up here. So that's it for the R Programming for Beginners series. We've gone all the way from downloading and installing R to learning about data types and data structures, and then we've learned how we can use data visualization to effectively communicate our story. This is just the absolute beginning of things that you can do with R programming, and hopefully it will allow you to go away and do your own data analysis or data science project, which is where you'll really start to learn the benefits of using R over something like Microsoft Excel. So I'll be getting into more advanced topics in the future, such as machine learning and statistical analysis, and I'll also be branching over into how some of this stuff is done in Python as well. So stay tuned for more data science tutorials, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on more great data science content.